Innovations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got your Black.
21. Oh, life has just begun. Got a temper like a gun, pointing it at everyone. That's his game, and it helps him to get through the day. But a voice inside him says, how much longer can I play? He's got infinite possibilities, I can see them now. It's the unbroken chains of his past by which he's bound. He's got infinite possibilities, I can feel them now. If he should do well, then nothing can tear him down. Peace of mind, not easy for him to find. And he's walking a thinner line in a place where another man is keeping his time. Though he's young, he's not like everyone. He sees what he's become, and he'd rather be standing in the sun. He's got infinite possibilities, I can see them now. It's the unbroken chain of his past by which he's bound.
It's time to set our intentions, set our self-care, and find our focus. This is Mindful Mondays with Saharah Ali on KBLA Talk 1580.
And what a joy and a pleasure it is to start our weeks off with Saharah Ali. She is a numerologist and astrologer, a yoga teacher, meditation instructor, life coach, sound healer, and sound bath conductor, among other things. I know that sounds like a lot, but Saharah Ali is bringing us Mindful Mondays every Monday right around now. Good morning, Saharah.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning, KBLA family. Welcome to Mindful Monday, where we get our minds right for the week by setting positive intentions to honor our mind and body through meditation, prayer, and affirmation as we step unapologetically into our week, being on purpose with our power, wisdom, truth, and faith. It's Gemini season. As the sun takes a mercurial journey expanding our minds, Gemini is the sign of polarity, moving through realms of consciousness and unconsciousness. Gemini is the protector of navigation and keeper of our understanding, unifying intelligence and intuition, moving us from instinctual mind to desires of experiencing new things. The celestial gift is expansion, and the call to action is transforming old paradigms, allowing transcendence, opening our minds to deeper truth, yielding positive change with ease. A few of the most profound insights of this Gemini cycle is self-awareness, shifting consciousness, karmic balance, aiding revelation of truth. Knowing our habits, good or bad, makes us who we are. So when we create positive change, we open ourselves to our soul's wisdom, allowing life to unfold with grace and ease. So our goal under this Gemini season is to release negative thoughts, actions, and addictive behaviors, anything detrimental to the evolution of our soul. We gain insight as we shift our values, embracing the wholeness within. It's time to make magic. It's time to trust with faith, and also engage in Proverbs 23:7. As you think, so shall it be. Remember that as we journey through this Gemini cycle, as you think, so shall it be. And as I say, think about what you want, not what you don't want. So moving forward today with our Mindful Monday meditation, allow yourself to get still and to open yourself to releasing, relaxing, and letting go. And in our meditation, let's unapologetically choose change as our prayer and call to action this week. So take a big breath, hold and center yourself, ground yourself, and exhale, releasing all resistance and expectations here and now. Inhale, open to receive the gift of divine trust from the Most High right here, right now in this space and time. Anchor yourself. open yourself. Exhale, embracing your inner faith. Embrace the wisdom of faith within you. Exhale, opening yourself to a deeper state of peace, resting your mind, calming your spirit, allowing yourself to relax. Exhale, allowing acceptance of change. Affirm your prayers of truth and light. Inhale, setting the intention to honor the wholeness within you, connecting to your personal power. Exhale, embracing spiritual awareness over emotional distrust, letting go of emotional distrust. Inhale, ready to step unapologetically forward, trusting divine right action unfolding in your life here and now. Breathe that in. And now exhale, allow yourself to release and relax as we journey forward to our Mindful Monday affirmation for the week. So taking the biggest breath you've had all morning, hold it. And now exhale, listen with love and compassion. Just breathe and listen. Our Mindful Monday affirmation for the week is, today I surrender all judgment, opening myself to divine intelligence, allowing my soul to embrace wholeness under grace and ease. Today I surrender all judgment, opening myself to divine intelligence, allowing my soul to embrace wholeness under grace and ease. Sit with that. Are you willing to embrace your divine intelligence? Are you willing to stand in your wholeness under grace and ease as we take this journey through the Gemini energy to help reframe who we're willing to be? Think about that. So thank you, Dominique, Tavis, Miles, and the 15 KBLA family.
Okay, now before you go, Saharah Ali, I'm not going to bother you about Gemini season, being the Gemini that I am. I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying the ride. But you said that we need to choose spiritual awareness over emotional distrust. So when you say emotional distrust, are you talking about emotional distrust of ourselves or of others? We're doing our Messy Mondays conversation today about relationships. And it's interesting because one of the themes we were talking about in preparation for the show was this idea of distrust and how that can undermine relationships.
Well, the whole thing about emotional distrust is an example of self-betrayal when you don't trust yourself, when you don't honor yourself, when you put your trust in other people. It's like emotional distrust is like we all have an innate truth that we function by. We all get that feeling. Something says go left and we don't go left. You say, well, something told me to go left. That's emotional distrust. So listen to the wholeness that already exists within you and to listen to those feelings of wisdom that the universe will give you all the time. We distrust ourselves emotionally because we let somebody else put something in our ear that is not our truth. We distrust ourselves emotionally when we ignore the wisdom within ourselves when we say, don't do this. So you have to go within and allow yourself to connect to your wholeness so that you can trust who you are, the wisdom that you have, the path that you carry, your relationship with your guardian angels and your divine self. Because, Gemini season is all about the duality. And so the gift that Gemini brings us is discernment. And in discernment, you manage your emotional distrust because you can discern and look and see, well, does this work for me? Does this not work for me? But to detach yourself from the ego aspect of your emotional mismanagement. The pastor said something really powerful. He said, face your demons or you become a demon. or you become your demons. And we become this place of demons or imbalance within ourselves when we have emotional distrust. So it's always important to be honest with yourself about your truth and not allow yourself to be derailed by somebody else's perspective or somebody else's truth or somebody else's opinion. Because it's important that for you to know what your power is and how to navigate your power, how to celebrate your blessings, and how to be in alignment for all those things that bring you your space and time. As I always say, as some Taurus man sings very loud, God knows exactly where you're supposed to be placed. And so if you are not trusting your own intuition, your own emotional management, how will you know if you're standing in the right place to receive your blessings? Or if you're standing in somebody else's place because they're saying you should be over here when you know you should be somewhere else?
Yeah, great points. I just want to say also, since it's Gemini season, it's about to be on up in here. It's, I love it when it's Gemini season. You think I talk a lot other times. I just want to say, Saharah Ali, thank you. It's been many, many years since the first time I got an actual reading from Saharah Ali is when I joined, I believe right before I joined the Steve Harvey morning show as one of his sidekicks back in the day, which would be like, I think 2000, the year 2000. We've been friends, and you've been doing, astrological and intuitive readings and, jewelry, these protective jewelry pieces that you do, and sound healing with me and friendship with me for close to 25 years, girlfriend. And I'm so grateful for you, what you've done on the air and off the air. And so I just wanted to say it, since it's Gemini, since it's my birthday, I wanted to practice gratitude in my friendship and also our professional alliance that we've had all this time.
I really appreciate you being such a sister to me, and I am so grateful for the journey we have had, and more is yet to come, and I will talk about it next week. We have Gemini, we have Jupiter going into Gemini, which is expansiveness for Gemini, so it's blessing time.
Yay!
Time to see your highest good, time to align with what is rightfully yours and put blinders on, because Gemini can be all over the place. Put some blinders on. That opposite sign, Sagittarius, and see clear your purpose, your power, and celebrate the wholeness that already exists in you. And let's make some magic this Gemini season.
I am here for it. If you want to talk to Saharah Ali, if you want a reading, or maybe you need a personal yoga instruction to get that knot out your neck, you can make an appointment by calling Elise, her assistant, at 213-628-9783, 213-628-9783, or go to SaharahAli.com. Get you a yoga class, a sound bath, and more. Saharah, thank you so much. Look, we're going to be joined by James Farr, who is covering the LAPD versus Dr. Melina Abdullah versus the LAPD. She's suing them for repeatedly swatting her home, and that trial continues. James Farr is keeping us updated. And of course, we are taking your phone calls at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580, because this is the place where we are elevating Black and progressive voices around the clock. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. First, thank you for your support of KBLA Talk 1580. We deeply appreciate you. So, I get asked all the time, Tavis, when are you going to bring back that State of the Black Union symposium you used to do? You know the one where you had all those black intellectuals on stage every year and everybody watched all day live on C-SPAN? Yeah, I know the one.
Let's bring them back.
Well, I am pleased to tell you that if you go to KBLA1580.com right now, you can sign up to be in the audience here in Los Angeles when we go back live on C-SPAN with a stage full of Black thinkers and influencers for a historic conversation. America has never seen a stage full of Black folk talking about the urgency of now. climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. It's going down Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com. Once we reach capacity, you'll have to watch us on C-SPAN. But if you want to be in the room when we go live from Los Angeles, Tuesday, June 18th, head to KBLA1580.com right now to reserve your seat. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. With KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
The Supplemental Security Income Program provides monthly payments to help meet basic needs, like putting food on the table, paying the rent, or buying new shoes for growing feet. You may qualify if your income and financial resources are low, and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability, or who is blind. Call 1-800-772-1213 or go to ssa.gov/SSI to start to apply. Produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And we are taking your phone calls, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. You see that we mentioned last hour some of the things going on, the International Criminal Courts seeking warrants against Israeli and Hamas leaders, just escalating this situation. The Trump election interference / hush money trial continues today. Michael Cohen will be back on the stage. Trump's on the stand. Trump's former fixer will be back. The president of Iran apparently is dead. He went down in a helicopter crash over the weekend. Ibrahim Raisi. They say, the New York Times is saying that this is going to disrupt the smooth transition of power to a new supreme leader, and could be a destabilizing factor for the region there. We'll have more on that. I need to get a scholar who's a little bit more in depth in understanding that scenario and how all of the pieces come into play. That ship that wrecked the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore is finally being moved 8 weeks after that crazy crash in Maryland. They're finally moving that ship. Donald Trump going to his son's graduation on Friday, getting the day off from court, and back in action again today. And by inaction, we mean, sleeping through most of his own trial. And of course, everyone's talking about that videotape of Cassie, the pop star and former girlfriend, partner of Diddy. Diddy seen on tape. People say allegedly. I guess you're supposed to do that for legal reasons, but what you see with your own eyes is him allegedly beating her very badly as she assumes the position, and clearly has been through this many times, because she has a routine of what to do. You know, she goes curling into a ball, goes limp. And then Diddy's apology, which for me falls short. And I will tell you why further into the broadcast, because I want to get to the folks that are on the phones. But Diddy took to his social media to apologize. And where do we go from here? What happens next? What does this really mean about domestic violence, about Cassie and Diddy, about Diddy's future? So many questions, and I think there's a lot of trauma and triggering that has gone on with people watching this particular videotape, and a lot of questions that have been raised as well. We're going to go to Big Phil calling us from Los Angeles. Good morning, Big Phil.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. The devil don't sleep. Wake up. Let me say one thing to you. I'll move very quickly. I see Boss Ross coming back around Democrat. I say he's going to vote for Bynum. And he mentioned about his little home in Torrance. You're right about property. It is no joke. My property close to $900,000 now. But, you know, look like Boss Ross coming on back around Democrat. And,
I mean, are you happy about it or mad about it? The way you say it, I'm not sure.
Well, I'm happy about it. He should have came a long time ago. Anyway, get back. Let me say about Puffy. Let me say one thing. When a man hit a woman like that, it's a coward. And 2016, when he did that, he should have took anger management. Then he should have came out what he just said about 4 or 5 years ago for apology. You see what I'm saying? I don't think it's sincere, and he takes a anger management. When you hit a woman just like you, my lady slapped you, I go tell your mom on you, okay? That's the type of guy. I would never hit a woman like that in life, period. Okay? So many things I have to say. I have to only say 2 things today because I got to get to the airport. I did come out to support my little god-nephew, Miles, but I became late. I had to get to the airport, of course. I waited 3 hours for him by Barbara Morrison. But anyway, I got to go.
Well, yeah, they kind of got a late start on that stage. They got it set up late. But Miles hit the stage, and he rocked it. Go ahead, Miles.
I know he did. I know he did. I had to get to the airport. But let me say, you guys are queen. You don't put your hands on women like that, ever.
No.
He should have got anger management. He should have came out a long time ago and said that. I wish the brother well, but now he's in a little trouble now. Okay, I got to go. I love you guys. Stay safe.
Love you more. A little or a lot. And I honestly, yeah, so much wrong with that. But Miles, congratulations. It was an excellent performance. If you want to see it, I captured part of it on my Instagram Live, and it's up there on the page at DiPrima Radio. It was a nice, really nice performance.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you to Leimert Park, man. It was fun. It was a great time, and I look forward to doing more stuff over here.
I love the way you were able to sort of perform for the young people and the elders at the same time by the material that you chose and the approach that you took on stage. That was dope.
Yeah, thank you. Then they also had the poetry competition right next door at the coffee shop too. I went and did that as well. So shout out to it was a great day of culture.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, and Jaguar Wright was inside the station.
Jaguar Wright pulled up and politicked with us for a little bit.
And then you guys were freestyling in the conference room.
Got a little cipher in. So it was a great day in Leimert Park on Saturday, man.
Yeah.
So I really do thank the culture that's around here and yeah, thank you, Dominique, for being there, and supporting and popping out for me.
Of course, and Haitian Flag Day we had so much going on Sunday. Saturday.
Yeah.
And Leimert Sunday too. It was a big weekend as usual, but yay! I mean, there's something important symbolically about you having your Leimert Park debut, Miles.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And the pictures were fire. Thank you for the flicks. Shout out to Tori, shout out to Andre, shout out to the whole crew.
Yeah, Brennan, Tori Brennan Reese, and of course Andre Parvenu.
Yep.
And Akili, Bob Akili, as he's affectionately known, who also co-sponsored that. Let's go to Jeanette calling us from Inglewood. Good morning, Jeanette. Good morning, Inglewood.
Good morning, Dominique. First, I just want to thank you so much for taking all of my calls since March, excuse me. I was on vacation every Monday, but it's over now, and next month I'll be back at work. But here's the good thing. I will be able to, watch on YouTube at work, but I just can't do the call-in or the chat room. So, but this was fun. So I just want to say today, because faith comes by hearing and hearing the word of God, faith also can come by hearing something over and over again, because I didn't know that I needed a deodorant for my entire body. But there's a commercial out there that says I do, and I'm beginning to get faith for that.
I don't know if you need that, Jeanette, but okay. Oh, whoops! I should be saying you do. 'Cause are we running that commercial? Then apparently you do. I'm just saying. Well, anyway. Let me get myself in trouble. No, you don't. Okay.
Okay. Well, you know what? I listen to you more, so I will not.
No, I mean, if you do, you do. Like, some people probably do. But if I'm eating smelly all over my body, I think I need a cleanse more than a deodorant.
Exactly.
I need to drink more water, go see Dr. Rab, Dr. Goss, something.
Yeah, I agree. But that's just my point on faith comes by hearing. But also what I want to say about especially these election times, I think what we should continue to do, since I'm not going to be here anymore, is speak on the things that Biden and Trump have said in the 2000s. Let's not keep going back to 70s and 80s and 90s. We see what they're doing right now. So, for instance, with Trump, I just can't get the words out of my head that he wants to be a dictator only on day one. Now, I know it's a lie. He wants to be a dictator for the rest of his life. So, yeah. So if we keep saying that, maybe people will get it. I believe that people will get it. And then his thing about the abortions and how he wants to monitor women's pregnancies and prosecute those who have an abortion, I just can't get my head around that. But I just hope people will keep hearing that and say, no way, and that's why I'm voting for Biden.
Okay, hold that thought, Jeanette. We're going to continue on the other side. We also have James Farr coming up, all that straight ahead after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The container ship that struck a Baltimore bridge will be removed from the site within days. The ship struck the key bridge, leading to a catastrophic bridge collapse. President Biden says he supports peaceful, nonviolent protest. This as he spoke to graduates at HBCU's Morehouse College. The president expressed sympathy for those caught in the conflict and again called for a ceasefire. After waiting for decades, one black man finally reaches his goal. 90-year-old Ed White, a retired military vet, went to space over the weekend on board Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin flight. Dwight becomes the oldest person to reach space. And that's the latest. I'm Ree Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA's Final Four is set. Minnesota shuts down the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets in 7 games. Minnesota wins Game 7 in Denver. Denver was held to only 38 points in the second half. The Lakers should have been taking notes in this series on how to beat the Nuggets. The T-Wolves will play the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. Game 1 is Wednesday in Minneapolis. In the Eastern Conference, the Indiana Pacers went into New York and took Game 7. The Pacers and Boston Celtics will meet up for the Eastern Conference title. Game 1 is Tuesday in Boston. Congratulations to Angels manager Ron Washington. The Angels took 2 or 3 from the Rangers in Texas. Washington was the Rangers manager for 7 seasons. Shohei Ohtani delivered a game-winning single in the 10th to give the Dodgers a 3-game sweep over Cincinnati. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Family Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data, and you get to choose who joins your family plan starting as low as $25 a line. Does it have to be family? It can be family or people you like.
Get more lines and more savings. Switch to Straight Talk for family plan starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
And yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We'll be checking in with James Farr in just a moment. But I wanted to let Jeanette from Inglewood land because Jeanette from Inglewood is going back to work on Mondays, I guess apparently very early, and we won't be hearing from her for a while, although we will be waving at you in the chat, Jeanette. You brought up a lot of interesting points, from all over body deodorant to the stinky guy that is our former president, DJT. Now, there's a person who could use all over body and inside the brain deodorant. But other than that, I don't know that most of us need it. Wanted to let you land, though, and let you know we'll miss you on the phone, Jeanette.
Thank you, but I will keep the education up. The only thing I want to say about Biden is that he did at least get Medicare seniors who's on Medicare $35 for their insulin costs, and I think that's a real big deal. And he was also able to do some student loan forgiveness. I know a few people who did get it, and it's changing their lives. So I think if we just keep on saying the things that he's done, that the people will have faith for it and then go and vote for Biden.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right, too, about repetition. Some things have to be said over and over again. And that's why I've decided I'm going to keep reminding people that Trump has told you he will cut Social Security. He's told you he's considering it. In the past, he's always denied it as Republicans have pressured him to do so. Now he's telling you what he's going to do. Defund grandma. He is going to defund yo mama. And so many black people rely on Social Security to survive in retirement because we don't have pensions and fat savings accounts, right? So you think you got a lot of homeless people now? Mess around and see what happens if he who shall not be named, the orange menace, becomes president, and they go ahead and chop, chop, chop on your Social Security. Time now to check in with James Farr. He is a journalist with the Los Angeles Progressive, a contributor to KBLA Talk 1580, and hosts his own podcast, The Conversation Live. He has been reporting for us since the very beginning of this trial, Dr. Melina Abdullah versus the LAPD, and is joining us now this morning live from the downtown courthouse. James Farr, welcome. James, are you there? Okay, I'm not sure what.
I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here, Dominique. Can you hear me now?
yes,
Sorry about that.
yes, we can.
Thank you. A lot of background noise. This week is going to be, these next couple of days, some of the most emotional and compelling parts of the case. Dr. Abdullah is expected to take the stand, as well as her daughter, her oldest child, as well as her security guard. So we're expecting to see some pretty emotional, gut-wrenching, and we'll hear a little bit more in terms of what the impact and trauma was created to the Abdullah family and those who were around.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's part of the heart of this case, right, is that this swatting and the response to the so-called swatting by the LAPD of surrounding the home and pulling Dr. Abdullah out at gunpoint and all of this was very traumatic for the family and Dr. Abdullah's 3 children. So the eldest of those children will take the stand today. As a mom, I just can't imagine how heart-wrenching it would be if my child had to get up and recount their trauma in a court of law and be cross-examined under pressure in a case against the Los Angeles Police Department.
Yeah, what's interesting, Friday at the end of the session, a group of supporters, loved ones of Dr. Abdullah kind of gathered on the steps of the courthouse. And Doc has been doing relatively well, as well as to be expected, right, through this experience. But when she had to announce to the folks that her oldest child would be testifying, and she said that her oldest child is the only of the 3 that has the emotional capacity to have to revisit, relive, and really re-injure and traumatize theirself by talking about this experience in this event back in 2020.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to ask of any person, especially a young person, but that's what's going to happen today. And you said we may see Dr. Abdullah on the stand today as well?
Yes, that's scheduled. So there's 3 witnesses scheduled to be called today, possibly tomorrow. We'll have to see how today plays out. But they're expected to at least call the final witness tomorrow morning, and then we'll move into a phase of closing arguments, and kind of the trial is expected to end on the 22nd. So we'll have to see, and I'll certainly let folks know and keep them updated throughout the day.
So as far as Friday, wrapping up Friday, the prosecution, or the plaintiff, I should say, which is Dr. Melina Abdullah, because she brought this case against the LAPD in response to their actions. The plaintiffs had a witness. Tell me how that went, who that was, and how it went.
Yeah, the plaintiffs called an expert witness, a retired detective, law enforcement detective who had over 20 plus years of actually being in law enforcement, and for the last 30 years has been providing expert witness testimony. And what Detective Clark talked about is the learning of how the continuum of how officers are supposed to respond to a crime in progress. I have to say, because this is probably the most technical part of what we've heard through the testimony, and we just don't have a whole lot of time to unpack all of it. But essentially, he picked apart every step of the way in how LAPD erred in how they handled this situation. He called it reckless and dangerous, and that, someone could have gotten injured or killed. And that is because their response, it didn't de-escalate the situation. Calling folks in the home out over a loudspeaker creates an environment where, again, we said this last week, you have to be pretty poised to come outside with guns pointed at you and you've done nothing wrong and you don't even know what's going on. That could have easily set off a chain of events where this conversation, Dominique, would be a lot different.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, for one thing, a lot of people would run if a loudspeaker came, around their house, and then they came out and they were surrounded by cops with guns. And how many times have we seen that end in tragedy? But it sounds like from the conversation, the interaction you and I had, that this police witness, this retired detective, was talking about what should have been done, even though I've been reading that there aren't really clear policies and protocols for how to address swatting. You're saying that, if I understand correctly, this witness was saying even if there aren't clear guidelines for swatting, there are very clear procedures for how to deal with a crime in progress. And if, in fact, the LAPD was believing the alleged SWAT call, that Dr. Abdullah was being held hostage and her children were being held hostage, they still should have approached that situation much differently.
Absolutely. From the onset, and again, within a few minutes of the police arriving on the scene, they quickly concluded that this is highly likely, possibly, probably a swatting call. But that being said, Detective Clark pointed out that the Sergeant Mankey, who was in charge, did not exhaust all reasonable means to try to contact Dr. Abdullah. And for him to say he didn't know who she was, that's just a flat-out lie. They knew who she was after that. And then he even explained the process of calling out SWAT. That's kind of further down the continuum, right? Like there's situational, and it's minute by minute, second by second. But once they got to the point, again, calling her out over the megaphone or the loudspeaker, clearly they couldn't hear inside the house. We couldn't barely hear the call out inside the courtroom for being drowned out with the helicopter. But then we moved to this space where Officer Perez shows up eagerly with a shotgun, his own personal shotgun, and these 1-ounce lead slugs that are capable of penetrating a building walls. And he takes point. He said that should have never happened. It hadn't arisen to that point to where they should have been at that level of alert, to where guns are on the ready, and certainly not a gun that has the firepower either be a .223 or an AR-15 or this slug carrying shotgun. It should not have been trained on the home.
Now, you mentioned de-escalation. So it sounds like the expert witness was saying that even in a situation that appears to be, now you found out it's likely a swatting, that they should have taken some measures or taken advantage of their training for de-escalation.
Absolutely. I mean, Dr. Abdullah has a landline. There is another extra step that they could have gone to. He said Mankey could have obtained that landline number, perhaps made contact via the telephone, and explained to Dr. Abdullah, hey, we're outside. Here's what's going on. Are you okay? Right? And then they could have made a decision whether or not they were going to tactically approach the residents, in full tactical gear. But those were not the choices that Mankey decided to make. And then again, he said he was informed by seeing, who we know is Dr. Abdullah's security looking like a unhoused person, right? He thought the home was a home for transitional housing. So he already had this.
Dr. Abdullah's security does not look like an unhoused person. We see him all the time. He does not look like an unhoused person. That's ridiculous. I know unhoused people look. I know unhoused people look a lot of different ways, and you can't always tell, right? But if we're talking about the typical unhoused person who, looks like they may have slept in their clothes or whatever, come on now.
You and I both know that, but again, when you're painting a picture of black and brown people, and we hear that He wasn't familiar with the area. I mean, there are a lot of different things that kind of factored into or informed.
They're not
him
familiar
on
with
how
the
they're
area, and by the area you mean Black America?
I mean by a neighborhood and a division, police division that he has policed for well over a decade.
And
No,
a
he said he
neighborhood that's
wasn't familiar with the
predominantly
area.
Black, or people, I mean, you probably won't see Dr. Abdullah's security in a suit and tie. More than likely, they'll be wearing a graphic tee and, in some kind of jacket, but not anywhere near an unhoused person. The other point, it sounded like the expert was saying Officer Perez should not have been allowed to point that gun at Dr. Abdullah. Is that correct?
No, to be clear, the shotgun should have never been an option.
Oh, it
He
shouldn't have
said
been deployed
Mankey-
at all, right? Okay.
It shouldn't have been deployed. Mankey should have ordered him to go secure that weapon. We don't need it yet, right? We don't know where we are because, again, you have weapons trained on the home, and there became this argument again, or this testimony again, about what is lower ready. We saw Mankey earlier in his testimony train or act out, mine out, pointing a rifle in the direction of Dr. Abdullah. Well, expert Clark chose to point in a different direction and clearly articulated the difference between a lower ready and downrange. And what we see in video, although it's a little difficult to see, clearly it was not at a lower ready. It was downrange. And by downrange, I mean they say they were pointing at the grass. They were pointing at the home. There's no other way to see this.
Yeah, it's just so traumatizing and terrible that played out that way in the courtroom. And then was there cross-examination after that of this witness?
Absolutely. Assistant attorney with City of Los Angeles, Estrada, he's a bit arrogant, right? And I don't think he scored any points on his cross-examination, being very condescending, very ageist. Detective Clark, I'm not going to, I'm saying he's at least 75. He's a seasoned, chronologically mature man. And, questions like were there cell phones, were there computers, all these things, it seemed a bit antagonistic. But Clark came off as the lovable grandpa. He might have not remembered yesterday, but he was clear and articulate and precise as to exactly what he testified to in the deposition. And he reiterated this was reckless, this was dangerous, someone could have gotten killed.
James Farr, I got to ask you this because we know there's one Black alternate juror, but as far as the seated jury right now, there are no Black people. You have said it's not an all-white jury, though. It's very much reflective of Los Angeles. And if that's the case, that means Latino, Arab American, white, and, other various blends, the California blend, right? When I'm not expecting you to know everybody's ethnicity or anything like that, but when you look at that jury, is it giving, Orange County mostly white, or is it giving a more of that complexity of Los Angeles ethnicities?
It certainly gives a flavor of L.A. And, I've been asked, it doesn't seem like Dr. Abdullah has, where are the Blacks on the jury? Well, when we look at our population here in this county, right? I mean, 10%, 12%?
Yeah, well, maybe even less than that. But a lot of us dodge jury duty, and I get it. They're asking you to give full days with basically parking money or metro money. And I personally think that they should raise the compensation for jury duty so folks who are in minimum wage jobs can afford to do it. That said, many who could do it don't do it, and this is the result.
Absolutely. Many expressed in the questioning and selection process that this is a hardship. Their employers do not pay for time off. Unless you're with an organization, and that typically falls with organizations that are county, state funded, city, municipality funded, where they'll pay up to perhaps like 7 days, right? and then of your wages. But beyond that, the jury was advised in the very beginning that this is going to last, at that point, at least 10 days, right? And so that is a hard shot. Many of them were wage workers, and they all express their sole providers, the plethora of things that you can imagine, that genuinely would prohibit somebody or create
which
financial
means we have
hardship.
to change the law at some point so that it is, equally as much of a hardship or not as much of a hardship for the working class as it is for the wealthy. Otherwise, we don't actually have juries of our peers. That said, James, just real quick, what do you think we should be looking out for in these last 3 days here?
As I said earlier, today's testimony is really going to be explosive, right? I mean, if one thinks Dr. Abdullah is a lot, wait till they meet the oldest child. And they will articulate very well on the stand exactly what their experienced through that process. So I'll update folks and update the audience tomorrow morning when we talk. But I think it's going to be very explosive. And
the court today starts a little later, starts at 9:45. I know they're still looking for court support. So if folks want to go down, what do they do, James?
Come on down to 111 Hill Street, the Stanley Moss Courthouse. Come on up to the third floor, Department 28. The judge has again admonished folks to stay away from the jury. He has not corrected where the jury is assembled, but that's another issue. He also showed up a little bit more congeniality and a little bit more graciousness on Friday.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was a different person, right? Or different judge on the stand in terms of how we've seen him show up before. But come on down, 9:45. Cut your cell phones off, people.
Yeah, the
when
basics.
You come to the courthouse.
All right. Well, James Farr, we really appreciate you. You can find James at James Farr Live on all social media platforms and look for his podcast, The Conversation Live. And, of course, you can hear him on KBLA. We got a lot to talk about. It's the perfect time to call me if you got something to say. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
Time flies when you're doing what you love, and I love talking with you. I said I was going to refer a little bit to why I didn't feel like Diddy's apology was thorough and sufficient. We heard him apologize without mentioning the name of the victim. I remember we used to have this expert on the show on the front page back in the day who talked about the right way to apologize, and that there's an art to it. And the right way to apologize is to say what you're sorry for. What did you do? Not be vague, but be really specific. I'm sorry I ate up all your cookies, or whatever it was. Then you are meant to say what you plan to do to make it right. I am going to buy you some more cookies. Then you are meant to say that you will never do it again, right? Acknowledging the possible harm that you've inflicted and making assurances that it will not happen again. That is a thorough apology. What Diddy said was, the way I acted on the tape was disgusting. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. When I see it, it's disgusting. I was at rock bottom. I, have to face my demons. I went to rehab. I. Where's the victim in that apology? I take full responsibility while not taking full responsibility, because taking full responsibility means apologizing to the specific person or persons that you have harmed. Right? Saying what you're apologizing. What did he say? He referenced what he saw on a tape. He didn't say, I'm profoundly sorry for grabbing you on the neck, throwing you on the floor, kicking you repeatedly, and throwing stuff at you while belittling you and stopping you from leaving. I understand the harm I've caused for the following reasons. I'm taking the following steps. Okay, therapy. What else? And here's why and how I know I won't do this again. That is a thorough apology. Never mind what a lot of people on social media were saying, which is you didn't apologize until the tape came out. You haven't even taken the denials of this off of your timeline. So clearly there's still work to do. It's a messy Monday, and we've got some great experts in the building to talk with you. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The container ship that struck a Baltimore bridge will be removed from the site within days. The ship struck the key bridge, leading to a catastrophic bridge collapse.